I'm a full-time professional artist. I live in San Diego, and it took me a while to get here as a full-time professional. I'm probably a good I might be a good um, I might be a good story for your audience because I know there are a lot of people that are that would like to be a professional at some point. Maybe they're not, but they're working toward that. And I did, you know. And so what happened with me, I decided at 17 I wanted to be a full-time professional artist. And then kind of life got in the way, I'll just say that. And then took me basically, you know, over 30 years to get to the point where I finally decided, gosh, I'm going to make the jump. You know, I just have to do this, you know. And so I was running a family business, and I just walked in one day and handed the company, I had a company car, keys to the business, of course, and everything, and went ahead and just handed that all over and made the jump and, you know, just, you know, kind of burn my boats in a way, you know, where I just decided to just do this full time regardless, no pension coming in, no retirement, and just had a lot of support from my wife. And, you know, it's kind of terrifying, you know, for a lot of people. But on the other hand, I'd waited so long that I just decided to bite the bullet because I was getting too old. You know, I thought it's either now or never, you know.
Yeah.
And so I went ahead and did that. And it's remarkable because when that happens, when you make that decision, I can honestly say that because it's like I've said, it's frightening to decide to do that, you know, because you still have a mortgage and family and all the rest of the stuff. But it's almost like the universe comes in around you and begins to support your efforts. And it's a little mysterious, you know, kind of how that unfolds. But it happened again and again and again in the process that I have to say it to your audience because I want to encourage them, you know, that if that happens, if they choose to make that jump, they might be surprised how serendipitous it can be, you know, where things just kind of all kind of mesh together and begin to work in your behalf, you know, so that's kind of neat. But anyway, so I was trained. I received some remarkable training early on, and art had always been a part of my life. I was told I drew a stick man on my grandmother's brand new wallpaper when I was 3. I was a class artist by the time I was in the 2nd grade. I was doing commissioned portraits in pastel by the time I was 14. And so art has always been kind of this thing in my life, you know. And so, and then when I went this part-time thing, which so many people do, of course I did too for a very long time, you know, then it turns into this kind of nights and weekend thing, you know, and again, I did that for a long time and was in galleries and so forth. And then, like I said, finally one day I went ahead and made the jump, you know, but that all kind of came together. One more thing I should say that as an example of how kind of the universe can come around and support you. One of the galleries that I was in my part-time phase, we'll say, I met John Asaro. I'm not sure, just because we both know about the Angel Academy in Florence. They actually have John Asaro's, some of his artistic training tools there, like planes to the head and so forth. Well, anyway, I met John, and John lives in the northern coastal section of San Diego. And so he and I were in the same gallery together, and we met. Well, anyway, about 6 months after I made the jump, he called me up and he said, I'm going to teach you everything that I know. So here I've got one of the top artists in the world, you know, that's going to go ahead and mentor me, you know, and I thought I knew a lot, you know, otherwise I would have made the jump, right? And I was surprised how much I didn't know, you know, and so John kindly went ahead and stepped in and plugged a lot of the holes that I had and taught me other things that I just plain, you know, you don't know what you don't know sometimes. And he went ahead and, like I've said, mentored me. And in fact, I could still pick the phone up, and if I had an artistic question, he'd kindly answer and so forth, you know, so that we've had this long relationship. I made the jump 12 years ago. And so it's just been this wonderful relationship that we've had. And I'm honored and privileged to call him my friend, you know. And so that is an example of someone coming in. You know, the old saying is when the student is ready, the teacher will show up, you know, and that was certainly my case. But also he was just a piece of the mosaic, you know, the fabric that was kind of in place, coming around and supporting my efforts too. And so